Hey, what's going on, everyone? Looking at the 5-game LOL slate for tomorrow morning. Before we get into the slate, appreciate it if you would hit the like button down below and subscribe if you have not already. You can follow on Twitter at the DFS Process, and if you want to join, website links in description, dfsprocess.net. Yesterday, if you watched the video, got some things right, a couple things wrong. Things right were EDG Gaming has my favorite stack because they went off, and LGD Gaming as an upset. Nobody was really on them. 3% owned. 3,800 at that team spot was amazing for 67. If only IG would have come through, this lineup would have been amazing. But not going to complain with winning some money on LOL. So looking to keep it going today for this slate. So let's get into it. We have some great teams on the slate, starting with FPX. Continues with TES as another good team. Just going to talk about each team that I would target from each game. This first game, of course, you always want to target against V5. They should not be called Victory 5, as I mentioned before. They are good at losing games. They have only won 1 out of their 25 games. Just super embarrassing. Dominus Esports is also terrible, but they should win this game. And they are much better than V5, as every team is. The second game, I like Dragon X a lot. They're 5,200 here, but their players are very cheap on DraftKings. And I think I will have them in a lot of my spots. A lot of them look great. They are just been on a roll as of late, as you see. 25 and 12, but recently they've been amazing. They've won 8 of 9 games. 8 of 9, so they've been playing great. Day One Gaming, just a tick over 500. They've also been playing well, but I do think this is a spot where Dragon X is going to win. This next game, FPX, like them as a stack. They are one of the best teams in the LPL, so they seem like a good stack again tonight against Vici Gaming. Next game, T1, I like them to stack. I think they'll win. And then the last game, Esports, they should win as well. I don't really feel an upset tonight like kind of did last night. I don't feel one. I feel confident about a team pulling off an upset here. Just looking at these teams at the bottom, none of them I feel confident about, so we'll probably be spending up at the spot. I think Dragon X is pretty cheap at just 5,200. But starting off with captain, favorite teams to stack today for DraftKings based on salary is TES, and I like FPX a little bit, but really DRX, I like them a decent amount. They're just so cheap on DraftKings. At captain, don't blame you if you want to play LWX at captain or Doin B, 12,000. Teddy looks fine at 11.7 as well. I love Knight at 11.7 from TES as a captain play. He's a little bit cheaper. Bad game against WE. They got upset in that game, but I think they'll bounce back and get the win tonight in pretty convincing fashion. So I really like Knight as a captain. He has huge upside, and before that last game was playing amazing. And then we have Deft at 11.1. Also a good play, just because I like that team a lot, and I think you could play him at captain. He's also been pretty consistent recently. And then if you want to go cheaper here, could look at like Chovy at 10.5 as a cheaper captain play. And that's kind of it. I don't think I'll go super cheap. If I was going to go very, very cheap, maybe you could take a chance on like a support for QQ or Crisp, but don't think you need to do that today. Knight is looking like probably one of my favorites at that position and based on his salary. At the top lane, favorite plays, 369, Khan. Canna looks good. Duran at only 6,000 looks very, very good and very appealing. Personally, I've been playing good, cheap price point, good spot here. I expect them to win, even though this game is expected to be a little bit closer, but I do like Duran a lot. At just his price tag is very, very easy to get to. Jungler, Yao Peng at 7,400. DMO is gonna. They're priced up a little bit on DraftKings. They're not a very good team, but whenever you face V5, you are expecting to have one of your best performances of the year. So he's expensive, but I don't think I'll get there. Tian, definitely viable. Karsa looks good. And Pizik at 66. I like that. As well as Cuz, 6,600. Another guy to consider. At mid lane, I like Doinby. It's expensive, but he's definitely viable. Chovy at 7K looks great. and Faker at 7,200 is also pretty appealing. They're the main ones I'm looking at. ADC, LWX, got to be in consideration. And then you have Deft. I love Deft at 7,400. You have Photoic at 7,600 and Teddy. They're the four guys I'm looking at. And then if you want to stack DMO, then Gala would be in your consideration. But I like Deft a lot just based on his price tag. And then for mid, give you guys, I think Chovy, like I mentioned, I like him. And the TES mid, you could play as Knight at that spot. And support, you have Crisp and QQ as the two best supports on the slate. Both of them are viable. Both of them are in great spots. Both have pretty solid upsides. QQ looks good. And then you have Carrier as well, another guy that I would play or consider at support. If you want to go cheap, you could look at like Effort, 5,200. Definitely not the worst play at that price point, but personally, I'll stick with QQ. Been playing him a decent amount, and he's been pretty solid, except for that last game where they got upset. But I expect him to get back on track and put up another solid score, like 70s or high 50s, or even has upside to get you 80s. So definitely a play that you could even take a shot on at captain if you wanted to. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for DraftKings. I like the TS stack, and I like the DRX stack a lot. DRX stack just makes a lot of the other stack work just because they're so cheap. FPX also looking like a good stack, like I mentioned, and T1 are the four stacks that I like the most. Over on FanDuel's been on the same page as me recently, as like who they have as the highest players on each position. I mentioned the DRX stack looks great, and FanDuel has DRX at the top of basically every position. The most expensive mid is second is Chovy. Most expensive top is Duran. Unlike on DraftKings where he's super cheap, even Pizik is pretty expensive at 87. ADC wise, Deft is right up there, so a little bit tougher to stack DRX on FanDuel just because they're so expensive. At 1.5x, the guy that I am loving is Knight. He is just 9,300. Expect him to be one of the highest scoring players on the slate. Don't know why he's that cheap, but I will definitely play him probably at the multiplier just because he is cheap. And I do like the upside that he possesses. And coming off of a loss, I think they're going to bounce back in a pretty big way. At top, 369 is cheaper than all the other guys like Dencana and Duran, so would probably go with him. He has been playing great over the year, and I expect TES, like I mentioned, to bounce back and get the win tonight. Jungler guys I'm looking at are Pizik still at 8,700. You have Cuz 8,500. He looks fine as well. And then if you want to pay all the way up for Xiaoping, don't mind that. Mid lane or mid. Chovy 95. It's expensive, but I think you could easily make that work. And then you have Xiaoyi at 8,400. I think he's viable as a mid play just because he's pretty cheap on FanDuel, and it's just an amazing spot against V5. You always want to, you're never gonna feel bad about stacking against them. They're just so awful. ADC Gala at 9,600 looks good. Deft and LWX look good, and Photoic look good as well, but they are expensive, so I don't mind going with Gala. And I think on FanDuel, I'll probably stack like a little bit more of DMO. Still will try to get up to TS. Is still easy to stack on FanDuel. Support-wise, still looking at QQ, Carrier, Crisp. Not a ton of options to go cheap at this position. And then team-wise, Dragon X looks great, but top esports at just 7,600 is looking pretty appealing. And that's kind of it for this slate, kind of what I'm looking at for the 5-game slate. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You can drop a like if you enjoyed, and you can follow on Twitter at the DFS Process, and the website is dfsprocess.net if you're looking to join to get the full lineups. So thanks for watching, and good luck tonight.